Shoot, you wasn't playing.
At all. You ain't playing no games around this dude.
Shot at Jack.
I don't say the Jack is
The
good.
cure for the coronavirus.
No. The cure. I told you the cure.
Here we go. Here we go.
Lord.
Yeah, here we go. I bet it's that aristocrat. Yeah, I bet it's that aristocrat.
Yep.
Oh,
You gonna be laid out somewhere, I don't think. Nothing can survive.
It may take you a day to recover, but
Oh, right.
But you gonna be all right.
There you go, priorities.
You gonna wake up like you like, man, I feel real fresh.
but my head hurts though.
I'm telling you, make you a good jungle juice out there.
Jungle juice.
Yeah, get you about 3 different kinds of aristocrat. Pour it in a tub, get you some oranges and some orange juice. Maybe a little bit of pineapple juice, like to knock the punch out. Throw a splash of ginger ale.
Yep, and somehow that's equivalent to the cure.
I'm trying to cure everything.
Kill the coronavirus.
Coronavirus,
AIDS.
bad credit.
Bad credit.
Yeah.
Unemployment.
You know.
All of them.
Unemployment.
Oh my God. And appointment, yeah. Perspective for
I
you.
remember I had some moonshine one time. Boy, I drunk it. I only had like 2 shots, of moonshine. Good old Everclear, boy. Man, we had them shots at like 8 o'clock. Now, mind, this is when I worked for the beer company, so I had to be to work at like 3 o'clock in the morning. My boss was calling me at like 8:15.
In the morning?
Yeah.
Bruh.
And I'm up there, man, you know the alcohol strong when it make your voice extra deep and raspy for no reason. He's like, Devin, where you at? I'm on the way. I'll be there.
Oh, weak.
Sound like my name was Earl, boy.
Yep, that sounds like Earl.
I went to sleep, Devin, woke up Earl, boy. That Everclear, boy.
Wow. Well, if it did that to you, I couldn't even mess with that. I mean, I had that one moonshine, but I guess that was like commercial moonshine.
Yeah, that won't straight out somebody's bathtub in the corner of the mountain.
See, the problem with that is like most alcohols, I can get up to my nose and be like, whew, okay, I can handle or can't handle. Moonshine just be like,
it has no smell. And then they come in flavors too, because you get them people in the mountains or the backwoods of the Carolinas, they get you something that tastes like apple pie with a scoop of vanilla ice cream on top. So you think you drinking a dessert, and then next thing you know, you are deserted somewhere with your clothes on. Trying to
just the
figure
good
out
size.
how you got there.
Help me.
She's like, if I go to Blackstone, my back shout out like people's in Blackstone.
Yeah, but I say, I bet you a legendary for something.
Legendary.
It's called Blackstone for a reason. They're gonna switch it to Y'all Stone pretty soon because I can't say the word out.
Y'all stone.
I can go to Blackstone and not get
Partake.
drunk. Partake.
Listen.
I get forced to drink. Focus. Have a drink.
Hey. Look, I need to go up there with you. Don't mind if you got 2 more.
Yep, I can see you tearing it up then.
Man, listen, we need something like that, like a true Black celebration. You know, you got St. Patrick's Day, everybody get drunk. You know.
Well, I saw this meme on Instagram. It was like, Black folks don't acknowledge the 4th of July as Independence Day. It's just a reason to get folks together and have a barbecue.
Yeah, that's it. It's just. What day? Is Independence Day? No, it's barbecue day.
It's barbecue day. Y'all coming over for
Y'all
a cookout? Cookout or barbecue, you know.
Man, you know what I was thinking? This is a tough time if you had your family reunion scheduled anytime around now. I mean, due to the discrepancies of the coronavirus.
Got to pull out the good words.
10 people can come eat at one time.
That's it.
How are we going to see the whole family? Look, we're going to try to rotate it. It's 400 of us. We're going to try the best we can.
Every 2 minutes, rotate.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That thing is canceled, and they know they mad. I was ready to stunt on cousin such and such.
You've been at the last 7 rotations, Devin. Look, I'm just here for the potato salad. Like, so look, just leave me alone.
I'm here for potatoes. You just cutting
I'm
people.
4 to 6 feet. Goddamn.
You paying people with toilet paper like, look, let me get your space in line.
Man,
I got the 8
I was dead ass serious about that. You know, all this toilet paper, man. If you got one of our social, not our social media, our streaming network passwords, and you bucking, and we paying $14 a month roughly for this, and if we need anything during the course of this coronavirus, anything
at all.
toilet paper, a cough drop, whatever it is, and you refuse or you hesitate, like you like, I don't know, doc. I hope you got plenty of books. I hope you had a dictionary, a thesaurus. I hope that you dig up them old ass Encyclopedia Britannicas, because you gonna need something to entertain yourself. Cause that password is gonna change by the time I hang up that phone. I guarantee you.
They got two folks right now.
On your thing?
Man, listen, I'm telling you, boy.
She wanted them. Ali told me, what? Thank you right now, because I need that right now.
Man, yeah, and I'm yeah, you can spread some love with some likes or some subscribes.
There you go. Comments here and there. I'm not asking for too much.
This coronavirus bringing out the worst out of people.
The best and the worst, I feel.
It's like we might need to do a podcast on that Tiger King. Everybody name. So look, I was entertained by what I've seen.
I haven't watched it yet, and I was trying to avoid watching it.
I'm entertained by what.
Same. I was trying to avoid it. We finished our last binge session, and Dev's going to click. I said, Dev, you better not be clicking on that Tiger King. He was like, why? Meanwhile, I don't think I got through the episode. I think I fell asleep.
I got through the episode, and I'm entertained. It is my
ain't that hard to entertain you?
You know what?
It's a hot mess.
Oh boy!
With that said, welcome to Film
Talk about my damn ADHD. You can go to hell, Jane. Hell, I can pay attention. What's that on the phone?
What?
Huh? Yeah, got your ass.
You know, you're real childish. Yeah, anyhow.
Welcome to Film Nerds. I'm your host, James. And once again, I'm joined by these two people, Christina and this guy.
This guy right here.
Oh, Lord.
Podcast play cousin. The reason y'all tune in every week to see my shining face.
They can hear you. You ain't got to yell, bro.
I can say it loud because I need them to hear me in China because they can't hear because of coronavirus. You know what? You going to stop social media America from hearing this. It's your boy Big Dev. A.K.A. Big Dev from the group home.
On the group home.
A.K.A. the group home hero. A.K.A. the short bus ambassador.
Short bus ambassador. Goals in life. Hashtag short bus ambassador.
He's no longer a hero. Now he's an ambassador.
I'm the
ambassador.
I'm moving up.
You moving up, clearly.
I'm about to be the special ed president pretty soon.
Again, people, goals. Hashtag special ed president. This is what we aiming for in life. Success is.
I was about to say the king of the crown eaters, baby.
Crown eaters?
Yeah, man,
I cannot. Please don't eat your crowns.
I mean, don't eat them now. Back in the day, they were quality. They were made out of good stuff.
You're not supposed to eat them then.
Whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that explains a lot, though.
What? It gave me superpowers.
Gave you what now?
Superpowers.
That does explain a lot. You talk about eating crayons, made me think of the episode Family Guy. Chris, he took a crayon and shoved it up his nose, and he was like, "Oh, now I can't do math." The struggles in life.
Well, today's episode, we'll be talking about the Netflix original movie, The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. And before we get started,
I done found the remedy of dealing with this guy over here. Take 2 shots. You could drown him out after that point.
What helps you sleep at night?
Yep. All the smacking was necessary.
Why y'all looking at me?
Because we can hear you.
This man for you finish your shot, This is 2 shots.
2 shots. That shot glass in your hand looks like the mussels we eat at that one French restaurant. You just
Oh, shout out to the green onion.
green onion was lit.
anyways, but the movie was released in 2019, and it's a British drama, which I didn't know. Yes.
Right, I was shocked too. No, there was no Brits in it though.
Well, technically, your boy Sharity
Okay.
is actually
British?
born. Is British.
Oh.
British.
Who was that?
And which one was that? Was that the dad?
Yeah, the dad.
Okay.
He wrote and directed the movie.
Okay, I think I did know that. I didn't know he was the writer and director.
Yes.
I didn't know he was British.
I think I did know he was British. I think I've seen him with the legit accent. Now I think about it. Oh, it's all coming together. That's awesome that he wrote that. He did a great job.
Well, you know your boy Elba is also British, right?
Yeah. Uncle Idris, yeah. Shout out Uncle Idris. Hey.
Sending healing vibes to you. He tested positive
Oh,
for COVID.
he gonna pull. Black James Bond gonna pull through.
Black James Bond. They hated him for that, boy. James Bond can't be black. Why not? Exactly. But anyways.
He's British, so why not?
Right. That's the point. Like, it'd be different if he was
I'm
from
gonna tell you the
Uganda
real
or
reason
whatever.
they ain't wanting to do it because
Why?
I was gonna be his sidekick. He was
That
gonna
has
be
nothing to do
007.
with
I was gonna be double. I was gonna be 009 and a half.
Sorry, who?
And 9 3/4.
How are you 3/4 of a number?
Look, we ain't work out the details. I
Right,
told him I had
right.
to represent for the short bus if I was gonna do this.
Clearly.
That Norfolk Public School math,
It's
going
smart
great.
like a mother, boy. Smirk like
SMRT. I mean SMART. I am so smart.
smirk like
Smart. Yeah.
Okay.
But this is.
Can't get shit done, yo.
Damn, Rona trying to creep up on me.
Yeah, the Rona.
No. but this is also his first movie he directed.
Oh, he better win an award for this.
He did a great job.
Well, speaking of which, it was selected as the British entry for Best International Feature,
Okay.
but it didn't get no nominations.
Oh,
Okay, racist. Anyway.
it was good. I mean, honestly, but if you hadn't said it, I would have never.
Oh, this is 12 Years a Slave, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
they got
same
it.
actor.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yes. And also Armistead.
Yeah, he was an
He was
Amistad.
in Amistad?
Yes.
He was on the boat, right? Because I only remember the one that's always stripping in the movies. You know who I'm talking about, too. Because he stripped in Blood Diamond, too.
Oh, your boy. What was it? I can't remember the name.
And he was in Captain Marvel, too.
Yep.
It was in Captain Marvel, too.
Gladiator also.
Gladiator, too, yeah. He was on Gladiator. And the bald one that had the baby by Russell Simmons' baby mama.
I'm drawing a blank. Sorry. I'm really trying hard. No. Yeah.
But but the movie is based off the memoir by William.
You can go with William.
Yes.
It is a
Norfolk
shame.
Public School education.
It really is a shame. We black people, we can't say half the African names. We be struggling.
Kwame.
Okay.
And Brian Miller.
Okay.
But the film stars, of course, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Maxwell Simba,
That's who I was thinking of.
Lily Banda, and Joseph Marcel.
Who was the mama?
I think that was Millie.
Yeah, Lily.
Oh, she was fine.
Gorgeous. Just gorgeous.
She was.
Chocolate cornbread, baby.
I mean, chocolate from head to toe. Beautiful. Just beautiful everything.
But for those who don't know who Joseph Marcel is, he's Joffrey in The Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
Yes, we said that immediately.
Yeah. I was like, that's Jeffrey.
Mr. Jeffrey.
Yeah, I saw him. I was like, oh snap! It was like I've never seen a movie
With him in it, right?
And then he's so seasoned with the salt and pepper, you wouldn't see him as Jeffrey, you know.
Well, you can't preach it because he didn't say Master William.
Facts.
But like I thought it was kind of good to see him. I'm like, okay.
It was. They did him dirty, but I definitely it was refreshing to see him.
But the movie follows William and his family, who are farmers, trying to pretty much send their children to primary and college, pretty much. And this actually like shows the difference between education over here in America. That you had to pay to send your kids to primary school. But they're not able to afford being due to the bad climate. In the beginning, it was the flooding that destroyed the crops, and then later on was the drought. So, so William starts to sneak around and trying to still gain his education through going to the library, and doing different things in order to learn. And as times become harsher for the country, the climate starts to change. Everything starts to fall into despair, and everyone starts leaving the village. But William gets this idea to try to build a windmill from one of the science books he was reading, and his goal is pretty much to bring water, use the wind for electricity to bring the water.
The water needed for their crops.
For the crops and whatever. But in order to build his windmill, he needed his dad's bike. Because the bike, something different with the bike and being able to spin the wheel.
I forgot what the thing was called on the bike. The dynamo. Yeah. The dynamo was key to its ability to respond to the turning of the wheels, to generate enough friction, I guess, with the cords to maintain electricity.
So, in the beginning, his dad was very hesitant. Yeah,
to say the least.
By hesitant, reluctant. He had no parts of participating or giving up his bike. But it's only due to his mother that he gets a new heart, change of mind.
That was good acting.
Yeah,
that was good acting.
She had me
want to cry.
Yeah.
But in the end, they were able to build a windmill and pretty much save the village.
And this is based on a true story.
Yes. So, what y'all thought about the plot of the movie?
Oh, ladies first. Unexpectedly good. From how they showed it, you really felt like you were with them in the village, and especially what we got going on with the quarantine, it definitely puts you in a level of perspective. It's like your worst day, if you can't go out to the grocery store to stock up for a month's worth of food, you're still doing better than these people were doing. I mean, it was to the point, and I don't know what time frame this took.
I would say early 2000s.
Early 2000s, which is even more shocking because...
Bush era.
Yeah, that's right, because it was like George W. Bush was the president at the time, based off of like a brief radio moment that we were able to get that time frame. And it's crazy to think like they didn't have like a house phone,
9/11.
a cell phone, right? They didn't have a television, and they had, I want to say they had a restroom. It was like an outhouse.
Yeah, outhouse.
But they're literally like, their crops is the way that they were able to eat at this time. And at that point, they were making corn, right? Which is kind of funny. It kind of like parallels our last story with the corn. But
yeah, I thought about that too.
I was just like,
damn corn go again.
Yeah, but so at that point, like you said, the climate, they're in Africa, and it plays a huge role into how successful they are when they are farmers. He inherited this property from his uncle. Is that right?
I believe so.
It was his uncle, but he wasn't given like sole custody of the land.
Right.
He shared it with his brother. And so the story starts with the death of his uncle and people kind of having, realizing like, hey, is this land worth keeping? And then the government at that time is trying to burn and take over more land because the big cash cow at this time is tobacco.
Tobacco.
And so they either need the wood for burning, drying out the tobacco, or they need the land for growing it. And their land isn't as fertile. So they're more like, we'll pay you however much. And I don't know like what the trade-off was, their money to our money.
Yeah, it was like 2,000.
It was 2,000 of their money.
Yeah.
So in a poor country, I imagine that's still probably less than 2 G's for us. And that was tough. And so everybody around them, I mean, if they're not dying from starvation, they're jumping ship, which means there's less people to work the land. And James brought up a good point. It was like, his son was probably, 14 years old, maybe less.
Yeah.
They actually said that he had to be of a certain age. It was a cute little moment between the dad. He was like, when you can reach your right arm over and touch your left ear, then you are old enough to go to school. And you just imagine like how old you had to be. And you still had to pay for the education. Like he would enter school, they switched out of their work clothes and got these nice uniforms and they were excited about it. You know what I mean? It was a tie. And they walked to school or they biked to school. And however much the tuition was, it was like if you got past this point in the school process and you didn't pay it, they kicked you out and they would not afraid to embarrass you. Like they pulled the kids to the side. And I was like, look, your people ain't paid. You cannot be here. Go home and get it or don't come back at all. And that was so heavy. And 2001, that's crazy to me. Like 2001, I think I was, how old was I then?
2001, I was in ninth grade.
You're in ninth grade, which makes you 14, 13?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah. So,
And I'm 2 years younger than you.
so that puts you at like 12, 11, 12.
That's what I thought, 11 or 12. And it's just like, I couldn't imagine, like, I'm trying to fight to go and get my basic education. But he was inquisitive enough and talented enough that he was able to kind of work little gizmos and gadgets. Like, he fixed a radio, and they were just so impressed by that. And that was their entertainment, listening to the radio. And then he did get the idea from an old American textbook about the power of wind and, being a source of electricity. And that's what gave him the idea. It's like, well, we can get wind because we're not getting rain. And we need rain for the crops. We need crops to live. And that, I don't think his only motivation was so they can get money to go to school. He wanted to see his family live. And you get to this point where just lots of different things are changing around him. They're losing their friends and confronts his dad about the bike. Dad is going through his stuff because there's a matter of pride. It's like he didn't go a certain way and follow the money. He stuck with the farm even though there was that risk. And probably the most beautiful moment is like I say the main character was a child, William, and his older sister, she ended up running off with somebody else, and it was funny because she made it through primary school but couldn't make it to college because of it, they couldn't afford it. Like, we can't afford college now because it's in, tens of thousands. But there, I imagine it's not that high and still was unaffordable, and they don't have financial aid. But the most beautiful or striking moment for me was when the wife, again, beautiful, she turns to her husband, she says, how much more do I have to lose following you? She was like, first it was, I think they had the death in the family. And then she was like, then my daughter. And now I don't want to lose my son. But you tell me how much more I got to lose. And it was the way that she delivered it. You were just like, I felt her pain. Because, the husband at that time, he's all like, are you blaming me for what's going on? She was like, no, I just want to know it's worth it all. She's like, I'm going to follow you to the end, but you got to make it worth it. And that was that pivotal moment that made him say, okay, I got to give up this bike. I don't believe what it is my son can do, but I got to give up this bike because I don't want to disappoint my lady. And it was definitely a huge turning point. I feel like it spoke to a lot of how important it is in like Black marriages and Black love to kind of be in that position where you support your spouse to the end and you really make the tough decisions. They had to make tough decisions, to the point where he had to ration the food down to like a meal a day and everybody had to pick their preferred meal. And, just like, it really just put things in perspective. Like, here we are, we're in our quarantine. Me and Dev, we're blessed. We're eating well. You know what I'm saying? We have options. We could still eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And people are complaining because they're not going to work or can't go out. But it's like they were living in a time where it was like, if we didn't grow it, we can't eat it. And they didn't have government resources to kind of alleviate them other than to give it up. And it was beautiful to think that he went from saving his village to becoming an educator and motivational speaker and all of that. It was a beautiful coming of age, rise to the top kind of story. And I love that it took place in Africa. I love the rawness of it. I love the realness of it. It was great. long synopsis there.
3 words to describe this movie. Broke as hell.
You know what?
Because that's exactly what these people were. They were broke as hell. You know, no refrigerators, no Popeyes, no Chick-fil-A. They had no roads. They had no plumbing. Well, they had plumbing to a degree because they were taking baths. No.
Oh, you remember? Yeah.
They were pulling the water out the well.
Mm-hmm.
They were pulling, so.
And he washed with that.
So they didn't have an irrigation system.
Like to that point, it shows the difference between our technology and their technology,
and the access to it more so, because it was like, you know, these people, they were happy. They was like, the game is on, right? They in the club just to listen to a soccer game. Dig what I'm saying? Not a new 2 Chainz song, not to drink Hennessy. And then look, right, so you want to talk about broke as hell. Let's look at the cover charge to get inside the club to listen to the game. A dead bird. My man sat out there all day to kill a bird so that he could give to the man so he can get inside the little meeting ground so they could listen to the game. The struggle was real in this movie, and I loved how they let you feel everything of it. But the struggle wasn't enough to stop nothing. They still loved each other. They still took care of each other. You know, they're farmers. You know, they work the field. The problem is it's too hot sometimes to where you can't dig into the ground to plant the seeds. Then other times it's too rainy. So now you drowning the seeds out and they're not growing strong. So the crops were used to feed them, but also for a form of money. You know, so they can make a wage and make a living. And it just wasn't popping like that. And so people were taking advantage of it because the government officials came in to buy the trees, and they were chopping the trees down. The thing is, if they chop the trees down, then you bring in the flood waters.
There's less protection from the floods.
And people got to make a decision. It's either you take these 2,000 whatevers, which through scientific research and calculation, I found out it came out to be $3.98.
He's so dumb.
So you take this $3.98.
I'm gonna get this nigga.
And you eat for a couple of days, or you stick true to your values, and you follow the chief, which was played by Jeffrey. And Jeffrey was a good chief because he was representing the small people. He was representing the hood, like Adrian Broner was trying to represent the hood in that fight. You know, I beat that boy. We need to get that clip. That's my clip. You know, I beat that boy. I did it for the hood, and that's what the chief did. He did it for the hood. The president candidate came through. They were trying to rally and trying to get votes and whatever. So the chief was making a speech saying how he support, and was like, okay, but we'll give you our support if you show us you got our back. They gave him the 5-knuckle shuffle. As soon as he got off stage, started dropping Timberlands all over his face.
Well, they pulled him off stage.
Yeah, they escorted him. They escorted him.
They escorted him
They
to that
escorted him.
Yeah, they escorted him. They said, hey, come over here. We got something to sit your punk ass down.
It was tough. That put him out.
And they whooped him. They beat him to death, literally. Yeah. So that was a sad notion. No, shout out to the friends in the movie because the chief's son was William's best friend, and they stuck tight through the whole movie.
That was the best kind of best friend, right?
No, the best friend was the dog. The dog. I
forgot his name.
I forgot the dog's name.
Something with a B.
But Fido was there, and I did not like the dad because he didn't want William feeding the dog. You know what I mean?
When food was scarce, he was like,
but the dog died of starvation. The dog died of starvation. That was the tipping point. So let's because I'm bouncing all over the place. Let's get to some of the key points. The bicycle. The bicycle was needed to make the whole windmill thing go, and it was so serious that William got his friends together. He was like, my dad ain't gonna give up the bicycle, So they said, oh, he gonna give up this bicycle. And they rolled up on my man, was like, hey, look, player, you gonna come off this Huffy.
Come off this Huffy.
Or you gonna catch these hands.
Oh my God. They did roll up on him, I'm not gonna lie. And Dad was like, what's up? You wanna fight me?
Like it was the fact that he's on the little shed and he stopped. He looks like he didn't look like.
What's up, man?
Oh, y'all.
It really
like,
was.
don't forget, I'm from the streets, and it's like, and we so broke we don't have streets, so I'm from the sands, baby.
I'm from the sands.
I'm from the dust. Yeah, I'm from the trees, baby. Don't get it twisted. They just got these dirt roads, you know. You know, I paid these dirt roads. Don't think your daddy ain't got it. I can still stick and move. With the best of them, you know what I'm saying? And then the part that let you know that black women can only take for so long was he went to the wife and was like, they tried to fight me. And she looked at him like, yeah. Let me translate. She looked at him like, I would have whooped your punk ass too.
That part.
So you can either catch it from the young one
or from me. He didn't want that one of them. He did not want that problem.
They were taking too many L's, man. Right. It's like, you're not growing nothing. It's like, my man, it's like, it does speak to like how the school system and stuff is. Because you got kids here trying to skip school.
That part.
These kids are trying to skip the fields. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was something the librarian said. She's like, he's not trying to sneak into the school. He's trying to sneak out of the field.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, it puts it in perspective.
Yeah, it does.
It's like, if you had to work for your education, I mean, all aspects of it. And I'm not saying that I agree with the notion because I feel like public education is important.
Yeah, it is.
The basics. But I do feel like we don't understand
the value.
True. Because, I mean, if you... Basic school, you know what I mean? And he was happy for his school clothes.
He was hyped.
He had
a photo shoot fresh.
A white t-shirt, a tie, and them strawberry colored slacks.
That's such an odd color.
It was a hell of an odd color.
But strawberry is a good color. It's not quite red, not quite pink.
Yeah, he had his strawberry colored slacks, and he just knew he was pimping, baby. And it's like, and he had the bop to go to the school. Shout out to the baby because he was like, he needed some ish with some bop in it, and he got them clothes, and they
look nice.
But the thing, and they knew how important it was. You know what I mean? They knew like this doesn't happen. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, and let me tell you how broke these folks was. They had enough money for the down payment, not the whole payment, the down payment. You know what I mean? And my man did everything he could to get inside the school. And then even to the point where he's like, oh, I just want to do science. Once he figured out how the dynamo thing worked. Because my man could hold a secret because his science teacher was sneaking off playing Casanova and Kissy Face with his sister.
Casanova.
Yeah, my man, African Romeo over there didn't know my man was at peep game. And I like how, like, everything that William did in the movie was for the betterment. He's like, look, I just want to sneak into this class, this science class. I just want to learn science. Why should I let you do this? Because I can keep a secret. Because somebody get their punk ass on their bicycle and pedaling to my city to see my sister. Man looked like, oh, you know. Yeah, player. Yeah, player. And put it in perspective, shout out to the sister in the movie because it was dishonorable if you left the house without the being purchased and paid. Yeah. That shows like a lot of like social differences, you know what I mean? Because you literally paying for somebody's hand in marriage, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, you want to marry my daughter, you got to have the wedding price. You know, not paying for the wedding. It's like,
but that's actually an old, I don't say old world value because, you know, my ex, that our proper ceremony, air quotes, I was purchased as well. And I don't know where that tradition comes from exactly, but I guess it is back in those farm days where it's just like, you know, bring me the cows and, you know, what you talking about before I give up my daughter.
Well, you see, I want to pause on that notion real quick. Because a lot of y'all heifers out here definitely would need a receipt to come along with you. Because Cause
Covering your back.
Hey, after 3 months, hey, look, right? Do y'all got that Walmart and Sam's Club return policy?
Cause I'm a
Cause this is dysfunctional. I need a different model. You know. What year you
Return
say this
to
was?
sender.
It's an 89. Well, what month was it in? I need to stay away from that month. Maybe I need to go further up or down because y'all ain't cutting it, baby. And I done paid my good rubles or whatever. You know, I'm gonna need half of them chickens back. We done killed them all. Well, we can cough up half them chicken nuggets or something.
I'm gonna eat half them chickens back.
This ain't worth it, baby. This ain't worth it at all. But sister played a role because without sister dishonoring the family, bringing dishonor to her family, the cows and the crows and everything else, he wouldn't have got the dynamo. Because the dynamo was attached to the bicycle. William always had character. I love that about him.
Definitely a man of character.
He was they made a character that had good character because, his friend tried to get him to steal. Break the bike.
Yeah, just break the bike, take what you need.
The flat the tire, and he's like, I can't do it, man. He's like, because, he kissing on my sister and stuff like that, man. I can't do it, man. It ain't good enough. And it ain't worth it all. But he figured it out, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to his persistence to work it out. And he was very charismatic because he got people to believe in his cause. Besides his daddy, who was like, look, this is my mongoose. This is my only means of transportation.
His dad wasn't so much wrestling with how persuaded he was. He was dealing with his own personal pride.
Because dad was a failure. It's like, you just got to call it what it is. It's like, y'all, how broke you got to be to sell the roof off your house?
He did. He sold the metal off his house and put
the metal roof
hay up there.
And he put scrawl up there, He put the ends of the brooms on top of the on top of it.
It's kind of like the Three Little Pigs, but backwards. Like
all it needed was one good, and everything was done.
It was ball game.
Everything was. It's like that brings up an interesting point because you remember in the movie, they were running short on grain, and then the government brought the trucks through with the grain
with an amount. You had to purchase it then.
But it was at a purchasable price. You see, I wanted to bring up that point because just like how, some of y'all would need receipts because y'all ain't worth the cows and the chickens I done gave the purchase y'all. Y'all better be happy for this free EBT that y'all get because they have to pay for their SNAP benefits. It's like they buying grain at a discount price. So it's not, okay, you just swipe a card and you get all the groceries that you want.
All the groceries.
This is, hey, instead of paying $6 for a pound of grain, we'll sell it to you for $5.50. You know what I'm saying? And they happy about it. You know what I mean? And the thing was, and I'm not a big fan of the government. I'm not. I put that on record. I don't care who you tell your mama. I don't give a damn. But the thing is, what I can say in comparison to some of the other places, when you see these factual representations of times and places, where the government brought them in, let them pay for the grain, said that they did not have enough when you had a line wrapped around like they were selling the new J's on release day, and then telling them, y'all can't stay here.
Yeah, like at that point, the people had rioted because they had cut off what could be purchased at that time. And William was amongst them, and they were like, okay, now the people are banging on the doors. They're demanding, they're hungry, and they're like, yeah, I see y'all here and everything, but y'all can't stay here. Yeah. Basically subjecting them to at least to be assaulted when they walk out because, prior to that, actually at the same time as that, his mother and sister were getting robbed.
Yeah, they were getting robbed.
The last of their corn and what they had made with it. And that's what everybody's doing. They were taking advantage of most representation, going to spend the money that they had to get this grain from the government. And other people were taking advantage of the fact that these houses were empty. And I got something on me.
No, I'm talking to the mic.
Oh, that there was that their houses were empty and they were cleaning people out. And they had already collected the last of their usable crops, and it wasn't hitting on much. And then some idiot stole it from them.
Well, he was smart because it was dishonorable. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, hold on,
desperate times comes.
So all y'all jokers that are showing y'all stash of quarantine goods ain't a smart move because you're gonna get the right joker that's gonna run up inside the spot, and you know what I'm saying, they're gonna go grocery shopping, and you ain't gonna get no greenbacks or no coins in exchange for the goods that they're gonna walk up out your house with.
Cool.
So then you come to the part where we at wits end here, because it's dry. Y'all hungry? They went down to one meal a day, and then they asking which meal. You know it's bad when the woman in the house is like, cut the prayer ish out.
Well, you know why she had him cut the prayer.
Why?
Because he was about to pray for floods.
Yeah.
And that was something they were saying. Well, later on in the movie that they told themselves we would never do
pray for rain.
and pray for rain.
Yeah, she was like, we're better than our ancestors. I thought it was interesting. She said, we're modern people. And it was like, when you compare to what we consider modern to what she considered modern, but she was like, we will never pray to our ancestors did and pray for rain. So when her husband was like, well, we're going to pray. We're over this, their dedicated meal at that time. And he's like, pray that, God sends us rain and everything like that. She was like, nah.
And you see, and that goes as a testament. See, being modern in America right now, I mean, you got the latest iPhone.
You got the curved TV.
And you got
the old technology.
Yeah, it's like you got a car that back yourself up,
right?
And can parallel park better than you can. And them is just being like, we ain't praying for rain. It's like
we're not those kind of farmers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
I appreciate her being strong for her children and her husband. Between, she was aware of her daughter, having these dealings, and she was like, my desire for you is not just be a wife and a mother. She's like, I want you to go to school. It's like, I opted to be a wife, but I want better for you. So if I got to work to the bone, work with your father to the bone, I will. And even, with the husband, getting him back on track. It's like, no, we're not going to pray for rain. What's going to happen for us is what's going to happen for us.
Well, the key points in the movie is really relying on the women, because the mother kept everything intact, because the mother, and that's what women do. Women are the bridging gap between everybody. It's like between daughter, son, newborn baby, and husband. The mother.
That's right. She did have a newborn.
The mother stayed. It was in the helm. It was pretty much at the helm. It's like, even though he's air quote calling the shots, she's navigating and kind of making them come to certain realizations about things. Shout out to the librarian who brought it to everybody's attention that, it's like, just let the boy use the library. Let the boy. And then shout out to the sister who, you see, y'all up there selling cookies, y'all personal cookies for $40.
Stupid.
She sold her personal cookies for $9 so that they can get water. You know what I mean? It's like, y'all two different, y'all are not the same, sis. And it's like, it's perspective. It's like a peep game. It's like, because the women made the story go right. It's like, don't get me wrong. It's like Michael, Williams was the icing. Yeah, it was close. It was close. It was close.
Yeah, Tommy and Billy, right?
Yeah, it was very close. Common mistake. Yeah, but Alexander, he was a kid.
Oh my God.
But William, he was the icing on the cake the whole way through. And don't get me wrong, it focuses on him. I love the directing. I love the direction.
Definitely.
Because everybody's role was fitted well.
People were a different kind of honorable.
I love that about the African vibe, because it's like, I feel like the other notion that the story plays upon is that technology does not make you advanced.
No.
It's the principles behind it. Because they were trying to get their hands on a basic technology. He was trying to get his hand on the power of wind to make electricity, not to watch Netflix or to play Xbox. It was to pump water from the earth to water the top of the earth so that they could actually survive, which is a different sense of a purpose, man, because I feel like that's the point. DMX says that in the and I'm slipping, I'm falling.
I can't
Because he said at the beginning, I want to say he says, life life is a struggle, but to survive is to find purpose in the struggle.
I like that.
He says that at the beginning of the song, and that's what the whole family did. Because because you know, they all had to make their sacrifices. You dig what I'm saying? But it goes to show the direction, the director, the directing, the writing, and the direction. I loved how every person that interact had a key point for their perspective parts or their respective scenes, that didn't overshadow the overall story.
Right.
And it was you could follow along very easily to it. And it drew you in. It drew you in. It was, man, for him to be British, he played that African voice.
I don't think that's his first time doing it.
Well, he is. I don't think it's the first time, but he's half British and half Nigerian.
Okay, this makes sense. Okay, he cheated. Okay, so
He's so stupid.
so
It is something that's not cheating.
You know, he cheated. So and so I can't do it. So he cheated. So it's like
Yep, there's that.
So I love how the direction and the flow. I loved how everything kind of made sense and went together. I love the little tribe, the little tribal people that dance when like the chief and when people died and stuff like that. And
I like how it celebrated the culture without being oversaturation in the film. It's like you see it initially with the first death. You see that they kind of, I don't know where they go in between or how they play into the religion, because they pray what sounds like to Jesus. But these characters don't seem Christian based, but they didn't ignite fear. He saw it as a symbol of hope when things were going bad and they showed up in the village again. I wish I knew more about their culture to understand what that was, but I did find that interesting. Just I love anything that sincerely shows someone's culture, like not the Americanized, commercialized, Hollywoodized version of things that we're used to seeing, but just truly like this is their culture.
Hold on now.
What?
I appreciate the Hollywood representation of these characters, because Mama was nice looking.
I'm talking about the culture.
And when you see the real mama, the real daddy, and the real dude that played this, I appreciate the Hollywood representation. because don't get me wrong, my man Michael, he did his damn thing. William, there we go. William did his damn thing. Alexander did, whoever's name. No, William did his damn thing. Yeah, But Alabaster. But
Cleotis.
But it was some tough looking folk at the end of that movie, boy. Boy. But it shows the plot. The plot. One of the things we're asked every week is like, what do we feel about the plot? And the plot is pretty much what the movie concludes to, correct?
Oh, the plot is the story.
What the story. So I love this story because it is on a superficial term, it's a rags to riches kind of story, to a degree, but it's not your stereotypical rags to riches. It's you come from the mud to make mud, and some thesis or on one way or another, and it keeps true to the value that there's nothing more important than the people that you love that are around you, and with their support, you can do many things, and that you're never too small to achieve big things, and you're never too old to get young, fresh ideas. I love that about the story. I love that about the story.
It's messed up, though.
But yeah, back to the back to the movie synopsis. As the story is a coming from nothing to making something, but it isn't overglorified. It's a true story. It's about making enough to make a difference.
Right.
A difference, not to get rich. It's like he did not do this to get for there to be a movie made out of it. He didn't do it for the gram. You know, He didn't do it for TikTok. He didn't do it for the Vine. I ain't gonna do it. He didn't do it. None of that. There was a need that needed to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
And he took it upon himself because he wanted the education and he did not want to see his people struggle. And I feel like that is very important. Is like you it's a story of people and it's a story about our people doing something for our people, which I feel like is even more so needed in these times because it wasn't an oversaturated representation of Africa. They won't butt naked. They won't chasing gazelles or caribou or anything like that. They won't shucking and jiving for anything. They were struggling, and it was a common struggle. But you see that their struggle is magnified based on the parameters that they're faced with.
Yeah,
the opposition that they're faced with.
I know for me, like I really enjoyed the story myself. Like especially not try to touch on everything that everybody else has touched on, but like I did like enjoy how they kind of showed not in a big like spectacular way, but show the difference between our culture and their culture.
Facts.
You know, and how things that we take for granted, you know, they had to work on and do things like differently, like taking a shower. You know, like we just go to the bathroom and turn on, you know, a faucet.
Yeah.
You know,
or a chicken biscuit. And man, you gotta bake the biscuit. You gotta pull the ingredients from the ground, bake them, then you gotta actually go chase the chicken.
Yeah, meat is definitely a luxury.
You know, but for them, they had to go and pump the well and whatnot. You know, and
how he found all the parts from a junkyard.
Yeah, and that's like, as he mentioned, is like as the industry started to take over their village, he's just getting like the scraps from there.
Yeah.
I certainly found it admirable to think someone so young could be thinking so big. You know, like you mentioned, it's like, yeah, they obviously don't have social media. That's not a concern for them, especially at that time period. I mean, I guess 2001, social media wasn't really a concern for anybody.
Nah.
But he is maybe a preteen at the oldest. I know my preteen is not thinking about how he can save his community right now.
Nah.
But there again, it goes to show the distractions that we're faced with because it's like they were happy with just living and being alive. You know?
Yeah, like, and then also like the fact of how he was naturally bright.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Brilliant.
Like,
I mean, he was dark skinned, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Like even though it was like a little funny moment between the mother and the father, how she was joking about how he gets his intelligence
From her side.
Which was obvious.
From her,
It was obvious. It was obvious. That was a no-brainer right there.
You know, and how she was saying how his only smart move was finding her, but he like, nah, I was smart, I was lucky. You know?
Yeah. He wasn't smart. He wasn't smart. My man was in a bad way, boy. My man was in a canned goods shop with no can opener, boy.
You know, but like, you know, you just how he was so handy at doing things or fixing radios, you know, and having the know-how to go about building the windmill in the first place, you know. Just because you read a book doesn't mean you know
How to practically apply.
Yes, you know, and the fact that he was able, like as you were saying earlier, he was so charismatic and be able to pull everybody together to first build a little prototype.
Yeah,
you know,
Which I thought that was brilliant in itself. Like,
you had to make sure that it would work.
yeah, I was like, how many people? I was sitting here thinking, like, I think you can come up with your schematics, have your idea. We got, of course, access to all kind of technology. But like, how many people sit there and like, how do I make a prototype?
But that's the thing, though. The technology is crippling. It is because we have technology that's so advanced, and the people that are creating the technology, it nullifies our ability to think out of the box.
Yeah.
It's like, think about it. Like, how many people, if your phone died right now and you needed help, how many people could you call?
You and my mama.
Right. It's like,
Yeah, and then the fact of like how today, well, even back in 2000, 2001, we have the little bit of internet. Internet
Yeah,
was
we had internet.
coming about, you know. But for them, they have no internet access.
None.
No
You
internet
know,
access.
none.
He truly read and applied. That was it.
And to them, the windmill was a big
Achievement.
and for us, like windmill,
Yeah.
like windmill's been obsolete since.
No, well, no.
No, they still use
they got plenty of them.
They're just a little bit more
Well,
advanced.
Yeah, they're a lot more advanced. Yeah, they're not using bicycles.
Well, that was the thing. Well, there's that. But the thing, you make a good point, is like, I had to remember what the time frame was, because looking at it, I would have thought it was a more dated setting. But then you think perspective, that it was 2000 anything.
Yeah.
And the most advanced technology you have in your village is a windmill to power the electricity, to power the water pump for your crops. It's like, whoa. It's like, I've never lived anywhere that didn't have a power plant, that didn't have a water company, that didn't have electricity and at least access to the internet. I think the closest thing I've been in my lifetime was the Caribbean. My people's from Trinidad and Tobago, and before they advanced in that same time period, 2001, doing the same thing, taking a bucket and dumping it overhead, and that's how we bathe, unpaved roads. And I remember thinking as a kid, this is different, but we didn't have, as much saturation of technology for the norm at my age that, you didn't question it. If I sent my son to the Caribbean or sent him to Africa and had to deal with that, he'd be all kinds of confused.
He'd cry.
Like, Ma, I can't call you.
What's the Wi-Fi password?
What is this?
I think most of us Americans would cry.
Yeah, in that same scenario, man, listen.
Poor dad would be roasting.
Man, listen. Oh, hot environment.
Everything, he just
Don't
pissed off.
talk to me. I'm pissed off about everything.
What's for dinner? Corn. That's what we had last week. What's for breakfast? Corn. What up for lunch?
I'll be ready.
Corn.
Bruh, if you tell me corn one more damn time.
We switched it up. Corn fritters.
I guess I gotta tell you this.
We're going to throw some serious things on this Serengeti. I promise you, bro. I promise you. There's going to be a Knuck If You Buck music video out there, show. Because I'm going to take it to your ass if you tell me. We've been out here 7 whole days, and all I've been eating is corn off the cob. That's it.
Straight off the cob.
Straight off the cob.
So you know it's real.
But like, I love like as you say, like I love the writing and direction of the movie.
Facts.
I feel like your boy did a very good job.
Superb.
Especially for being his first time directing.
This was his first time directing?
Yes.
This was an awesome movie.
Yeah, he smashed it.
Y'all are some haters. Haters. Y'all didn't give this man no award, man. Anti-shout-out to y'all that ain't give this man no award.
Is that a thing?
It is now.
Okay.
Anti-shout-out. Negative shout-out.
Negative shout out.
Yeah.
I feel like he wasted no. I feel like there were no scenes wasted.
It was no scenes
You know,
wasted.
Yeah, no.
Every scene, every shot had a purpose.
Even the scenes with the chief, because it was like, at one point I'm like, what is Jeffrey going to be? And the thing, but to see that he had his faith so much in a man, you dig what I'm saying? That and you have the answer right there. That shout out of your loins. Put things in a whole lot.
It puts you in that headspace of just like, what do you put your faith in? And not like faith like religion, but truly like he was putting it in, Jeffrey as their chief to represent them and get them the help that they need.
From the government.
From the government. But it's just like, as you and I were learning in our own lives, it's just like, how do we be the change? How do we be the solution?
And how
to
can
our
we
problems?
do it ourselves? It's like, if put in that scenario, or put in a worst case scenario, can you do it? Do you have that much drive, or is like have the drive been zapped out of us because we have been pampered by so much? You got to think, the worst ghetto in America probably has more than them niggas. I mean, they had over there. Yeah, I'm gonna get a beat. All right, gotta take a shot. But
But you're right. Like the worst of the worst here still has a lot more access to not just the necessities but luxuries than they did. Salud.
all right,
Aggressive. aggressive.
Yeah, and like, and like, come on now.
I know that feeling. Oh, that's how I know I couldn't do cocaine. I know I couldn't do cocaine. If the should have been from that, yeah, nah.
No, you good on that one.
Oh, that Ronnie baby, the heroin.
I know, right? But what am I about to say? Yeah, but I like. It's kind of spiky.
Oh, mine just cut out.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm so good.
Okay, now okay. Oh, wait. How am I out? Check. Hello?
I'm good.
I don't hear you.
I don't hear me either. I don't hear anybody. There we go.
You just have to turn it. Can you still hear?
No, it just went out.
Yeah.
Okay, can it push in anymore?
Sorry,
Yeah, I hear myself. Yeah.
How about now?
Yeah, I can still
Okay.
hear. Cool.
Just had to give it a spin.
A spin.
Right.
It's a twist.
Little
Technical difficulty.
yes. What about to say? Oh yeah, but I love and the battery died. But I love the descent of chaos. Mm-hmm. I can hear myself now.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Yeah, oh well. But like, I love the descent of chaos and how everything just started to fall apart.
Yeah, it went
definitely
straight
falls
to
apart.
hell.
She's stupid.
Out the handbasket.
You know, like everything, like in the movie, everything is already kind of normal,
bleak,
but yeah, bleak. You know, like we struggling, but we can make it. You know, like we just waiting for this harvest. You know, but the floods comes. Okay, well, yeah, maybe we need a little government help. You know, maybe the government come save us. Then the drought comes. The government is not coming. You know, like I mean, they give you little food rations, but that's not.
But you gotta pay for them though.
Yeah, and that was the trippy thing. It's like she took all that they had left. It was like, buy all you can so we can make it through the season. That was heavy. I mean, even just the notation of like, he was like, can I bargain with somebody to just, get my piece of the land back? And he was like, why would they do that? It's more money in tobacco than to help y'all.
Yeah, man. And between that and between the fact that it's like, yo, they could at least gave him that big block of cheese.
The what block of cheese?
Big block, that government cheese. Best grilled cheese sandwich you ever ate in your life.
So stupid.
You ain't gonna take no dump for about 4 days, but when it hit, it's gonna hit, baby. Y'all don't know nothing about that government cheese or that government peanut butter with 3 inches of oil sitting at the top of the can. That's why you put your head down, because you know something about it. You know something about it.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking too about that government peanut butter.
That government peanut butter, boy. That USDA, boy. That white label. You know it's tough when the can comes on a white label, and it just say USDA peanut butter on the joint. You know.
At least they in line.
And that's the reason why now my peanut butter gotta be named bread now.
Man, look at you.
He fancy now.
Even just for peanut butter.
Super fancy.
That government peanut butter was alright, man. Oh boy, government peanut butter was alright.
You be constipated afterwards.
Man, listen, boy. and especially if you don't got nothing like good to wash it down with, or like and it shows you like what kind of bread you got, because you got that cheap Dollar Tree bread. Once you get that good scoop of it's gonna tear the whole bread up. All the bread coming up. You can't smear that. You know what I'm saying? You need tough bread. You need built for tough bread. You need that same bread that Jesus blessed in Egypt. Because that's the only. Because it's gonna take a miracle for you to make a good sandwich.
That peanut butter.
Oh my God, boy! And don't have no jelly to go with it, man. You a tough day. It's gonna get stuck all on the top. You might go. You gonna be doing one of them numbers, trying to scrape it off the top. Yeah.
But yeah, like overall, like I just thought this was a pretty good movie.
It was very good.
It was an awesome movie.
Even for the acting,
The casting was awesome.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's so believable.
The casting was awesome. All of them had the right amount of toughness. I'm being serious, because it was like, it wasn't like, it was a fair representation, because there were beautiful people in their own right, you know what I'm saying? But it's like they had that fair. It doesn't look like they were wearing a whole lot of makeup or nothing. They seem like very natural looking. I guess I'm really starting to get into the whole film nerd vibe thing. 'Cause I be paying attention now. You know, people say I don't pay no damn attention. But anyway, boy, anyway. But change my goddamn nerves. But so
I didn't say anything.
Right. Yeah, go back to the front of the beginning of this podcast. But
Front of the podcast.
yeah, go to the front of the podcast.
Turn to page 1.
Yeah.
There it is.
Boy, my book look brand new every year at the end of the year. Ain't never
No
cracked that
creases.
joke. No creases at all.
Terrible.
That joke is brand spanking new.
So dumb.
Boy, Sprout. Brand spanking, no scribbles or nothing in that joke.
That new book smell too.
Yeah.
Not the new book smell.
Damn.
Page is just a crispy. You got it.
Only open the Joker to put my name in the front, or to put the.
I wonder if they still do that.
I doubt it.
You ever like look and be like, oh, I know. Do you know that? No.
You remember when you had to make the book covers out of the grocery bag?
Oh, like the
paper,
cardboard.
the paper grocery bag.
And you draw on it or whatever.
Yeah, you can make it. Yeah, shout out to B-Lowe's back in the day. But anyway, so the acting was spot on. The casting was spot on. The people were beautiful and brilliant. I don't know where they recorded this at, but whatever it is, the land, the scenery, just captured everything.
Yeah, you felt immersed into their world.
Even the villain characters, like the extras, like the guards, the president. He looked like a con artist. He looked like Creflo Dollar. That's what he.
Wow.
He did. He looked like a mega church reverend. He's like, I was like, I know he crooked.
He looked crooked.
He
That's what
looked-
they said as soon as he came on the scene.
Get your dollars.
Get your
Got your dollars. I mean,
You said President got him, baby.
got him.
I got him, baby. What you got? The dollars,
Them
people,
dollars.
whatever you want to know. I
Whatever,
got
I
'em.
got it.
See, my part was when I think y'all said it already. You know, when toward the end when the wife like forces him, not kind of forces him, but tells him about all the things that she lost.
Yeah.
You know, and he just stepped like looking like damn. You know.
Yeah, I mean, what can he say?
Look, I have never seen a woman call someone an N-word as elegantly as she did. Because she read that man all his right. I done lost everything. Death to the family.
My parents.
My
Yeah,
parents.
support, yeah.
My daughter, you know.
Man.
You know, it's like, you know, my
man.
edges, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
So, I can't-
you know,
cannot.
they didn't take good out. It's like, what else do I got to lose? You know what I mean? And my man is standing there stuck looking like, and it's all because you don't want to give up the mongoose bicycle. You know, I'm like, yo, it won't even that nice. It didn't even have a bell on it.
I mean, that was an interesting thing, just side note, but relevant. It's like, that was their mode of transportation, that one bike. They're a family of 5.
Okay, so you remember the part when the daughter and the mother with the baby were walking up to like the city, and the dad was riding back from the city on the bicycle. I'm looking like that would have been the end of the relationship right there if I would have been the mom. Cause like we hoofing it, I mean, you know what I'm saying,
on the bicycle.
and not even hoofing it like we got a horse and nothing like that. It's like we 2 feet in this, you know what I'm saying?
Yep, baskets on the head, making it home.
And we see you come up here strolling on a bicycle. Man, I'd have kicked him straight off that bike. Soon as he would have got good in real life.
But that scene going back with the wife, you know,
The lost everything scene.
yes, like that actually reminded me of, in a way, of when I was younger with my mother. You know, like there be times where I'll go to my dad with things like, can I go here? Can I get this? He'd be like, nah. But it was only because of Mom Dukes. That was it was like, like a few minutes later, yeah, your dad said, you good,
Because mom, listen, man, in the black household, it's like you gotta think the black man is just it's like the government. It's like you the president just on paper. we know who run this Joker. You know what I'm saying?
That part.
because the women are more in tune. You know, because it's like, how can you not be in tune with something that came out your womb?
Right.
It's like, you know, it's like the kids are part of our nut sacks for like what? However long it takes us to shoot them out. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, then, you know, they got to carry them for like, you know what I'm saying, 9 months, you know what I mean? And then, you know, and then it's like, and then if we stay around, you know what I'm saying, don't, it's like, it's still mama's baby for the most part. I know they children. But it's like women get ish done. It's like you got a good woman, ish gets done because it's like that's how it is.
Yeah.
Especially if you got a decent man. You dig what I'm saying? Because it's like that's the other part. You either have a decent man or a man that can that is smart enough to understand that he's stupid. And that's what Dad did in the movie. Dad knew he was stupid. Yeah. He knew it. Like she said, the smartest thing you ever did was marry me. He was like, I was lucky because I am dumb as hell. It's like they asked that man what 2 + 2 was. That man said Norfolk, and I'm like, no, baby, no. Side note, that's how a lot of these kids from this quarantine and this that's how they gonna come back. Somebody they gonna be like, hey, little John. What's the capital of Virginia? Chesapeake. Take your ass back to kindergarten. just go walk straight. Man, I'm in high school now. You gonna start over today, Jack.
All the way.
Go straight to kindergarten. Don't pass go. Do not collect $200. Kids gonna be dumb as hell. Only thing these kids gonna know after this quarantine is how to roll a blunt.
Oh no.
How to twerk and how to make TikTok videos. That's all they gonna know.
They killing these TikTok videos.
They killing the TikTok videos.
My one friend, she does hair. She was like, I guess I'm gonna teach my children how to braid. She got a 12-year-old and like a 2-year-old. They gonna learn today.
and like another part like is when what happens? I forget what happens. But the daughter was coming at the father. You know, talking about how he left them, whatnot.
Yeah.
Oh, after they got robbed.
Yes. And she stormed out the house.
Yeah.
And her mother slaps her.
Oh, it gave her to Rick James? Oh, my God.
When I tell you she checks everybody gets
but Mama came through. She was like, hold on, sweetheart. That's your father.
She pulled us like, let me talk to you for a second. What?
And then hugged her. But you know that's bad. She slapped the hell out of her, then hugged her. You know what I'm saying? I love you. Don't do this again. Because next time ain't going to be an open hand. It's going to be a closed fist. Because we can throw these things. I'm from the back of the jungle, baby. I'm from the Congo. Don't get it twisted out here.
Don't get it twisted. But no, it was definitely some dope scenes. I told Dev, I was like, I liked William's best friend. Because it was a different level of best friend. He, you know, he's technically attached to, like, the higher society because his
father's the chief.
His father's the chief.
Shout out to Jeffrey.
But a beautiful moment is like, you know, you kind of see him pepper in and out as their family continues to struggle. And there's a scene where William is actually, you know, tilling the land and his best friend's right next to him. Some best friends, you be calling like, hey, can you help me till this land? They be like,
See about that.
Yeah, man. Hey, look, man, I gotta watch this water freeze real quick. So
it's 78 degrees outside.
Yeah, so once it freezes, right, I'll be right over there. So just hold on now.
I'll be on the way.
I'll be as soon as it freezes. I mean, soon as the first, yeah, I'm there.
But that reminds me because like with his best friend, like you'll see his parents.
Right.
Like so.
His best friend's parents?
Yeah.
Well,
his father was the chief.
Yeah. Well,
like, you don't see the mother.
Like the mother
right,
or any other family.
That's
you know,
true.
So that actually brings the question when the chief was, you know, sick. Well, not really sick, but you know, I got beat up. You know,
got his ass whooped.
You know, how rough did he had it? You know,
yeah,
big facts. And then he had to assume the role as the chief eventually.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so it was like that.
It was a different kind of rough too. Yeah, your dad's beat down, and like unfortunately, he had to basically have his deathbed at home because the threat of going to any nearby clinic. Probably on the one hand, might not have the money for it, and then on the other hand, you got beat up by the government. So it's like once you check into the hospital, you're an easy target to finish the job.
Yeah, and they thought of that before they did it. You know, shout out to William's mama, Coco Cornbread, because she kept. it's his story, but she definitely was like the driving factor behind everything. Because she's the only thing that kept the family together. Because dad was too stupid and high strung. Because I mean, you left the family to go try to protest and think that the government is going to do something. And the next thing you know, they done stole everything and possibly could have raped and killed
Your wife and daughter.
your wife and daughter.
Yeah, doctor. Well, I don't know if the little one was a girl, but it was just like at that point when they got robbed, it was the daughter, who I guess might have been her late teens, early 20s, mom, and the newborn, because William was, what was William doing? He was getting the grain.
He was
She
out there
had
getting
just
the
given him
grain,
the money
yeah.
for the grain, and the dad had went with other, workers trying to protest, we need government aid, and, kind of leaving your wife, the
To
women of
fend
your
for
household.
themselves, yeah.
And of course, he probably wasn't thinking someone was going to break in, but at the same time, there was no protection. I mean, she was shook. She prioritized protecting her daughter, and they were grateful that all he wanted was the food.
And she was a thug because she picked up something to bust him upside the head.
She had a bowl, but she was going to catch the work. He was definitely going to get some work with that bowl. Because she was not playing. And I appreciate that. She was like, whatever I got to do. Even if it's with this here bowl.
When she said, I would cut off my arm to make sure that you eat. When she told her daughter that, man. And that's why I feel like she was such a pivotal character in the joint, because the dad never had no iconic lines like that in the movie.
Sure.
Because he was very much the father, but he was kind of like an older sibling.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? You kind of had that vibe, but mom was everything. Mom was like the creme de la creme when it came to the household and everything else like that. She kept the pimping. I appreciate moms. I appreciate moms. Shout out to shout out to whoever gave my man the president of Bootleg Wakanda that suit and that press in the front. You know what I'm saying?
So stupid.
My man, when he put his hands together, hit this number right there. I was like, oh yeah, you a thief right there, boy. Y'all can't see it on the camera, but he put his hands. He did the I'm a crook handshake, and that was ball game. Beautiful illustration.
It was beautiful.
No waste at all.
I agree with that. That was one thing I wanted to touch on that you had mentioned. And now, me too, like, I never really appreciated when films, like, everything is intentional. There's no, like, unnecessary fluff that causes question. That one was literally every scene, every piece, every moment, every conversation was relevant to what needed to happen for you could enjoy the story.
Unlike the Titanic, which is the worst movie ever.
Devin's vendetta against Titanic.
I think you mentioned Titanic every podcast.
And I will continue until. Okay. Another wasted movie is It Come at Night. Two most wasteful movies at all.
Devin's top trash movies include Titanic.
And if It Comes at Night, the money that they use for It Waste at Night, they could use that for the stimulus packages they about to send out. And they should be shaming themselves right there.
Shame.
They should let Tyler Perry make that movie. It would have been all right.
It would have been all right then.
It would have been all right. Medea would, and It Comes at Night, beat Medea edition. Hello.
No explanation.
Ain't no disease could kill. Nothing could kill Medea. Nothing could harm Medea. Coronavirus. That Tyler Perry cut the check, baby. Because I'm gonna give you this idea, baby. Look, baby. Look. Medea takes on the coronavirus. I know Medea got the cure for the coronavirus. Come on now. Come on. As much as she on house arrest, we all on house arrest right now for the most part. So come on, Tyler. Mr. Perry. Whatever you want to cut the check, baby. Just cut the check. That's all you ain't. Look, I don't want to be on the writing staff. I would like give me a cameo. Give me a cameo. When you do when you do the Medea coronavirus, I'll just be the tax man. One of the tax feelings, just doing the dances on the side, dressed like Uncle Sam. I was a shake dancer in my past life, so
shake dancer.
Cut the check. Great movie though.
Beautiful movie.
Great movie though. Great representation of our African people.
It was
great representation.
It was like a lot of big Hollywood movies tends to show Africa in a different light.
Then they did show us broke. Don't get me wrong. They did show us broke, but they showed us broke with a purpose. It's like, it wasn't like we were begging for that 30 cents a day that they never sent to Africa. They didn't show us in bondage or in slavery at all. Mm-hmm. They did not make white people the gods of Africa, which was another abomination.
They have no white people in that movie.
No.
Yeah, shout out, boy! Shout out to 12 Years a Slave.
They can hear you.
Oh, okay. But yeah, shout out to 12 Years a Slave for keeping it all black. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It wasn't no white saviors in the movie, and nothing against. Please don't take nothing against. I'm saying anything against white folk, but it's good to see a African-based movie where the Africans had a problem and the Africans were the solution without any other external assistance. Like, we can't do nothing. We can't figure it out. I feel like it was beautiful. I feel like everybody has movies like that. There again, that punk ass Titanic. It's like it's anyway. So, but it was great. It's a great representation of what brown excellence, what black excellence can do. Yeah. It really was, of intelligence, of purpose, of drive. It's like, we can do more than sing, dance, dribble a ball, score a touchdown. It's like, we could think. We're brilliant. We are brilliant. My man made the wind. Harnessed the wind with a huffy bite and some sticks. You know, and they made, I forgot what they made the blades out for.
I think it was like
pipes.
Pipes and old fans.
And old fans and stuff. Because they went and got some metal, didn't they?
You from the junkyard.
From the didn't they?
I saw them like burning and curving something, or no, they were flattening. I think they did. They took a pipe, but they flattened it so that it would be the pillars for the initial prototype. I mean, but it was just the innovation. I think is what the intent is to see our people being innovative and fixing the issue. I agree with Dev. Like, it showed a struggle, but it wasn't like huts and loincloths and broken English struggles. You know what I'm saying? It with the flies on the one on the eyeballs. It was like, this is our reality. This is our world. We have an our world problem, and we have an our world solution,
and we can fix it.
And that's what we just needed to see.
Yeah. And also love how they use the native tongue as well.
Yes, they did. They did. And
I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't expecting that at all.
I thought it was dope.
I thought it was really dope, and I loved how they all the actors. I don't know what they all speak. I know 12 Years a Slave. I know he speaks pretty good English.
Everybody was speaking English.
Yeah, but I mean, like, on the normal.
Oh.
You know, it's like I would have just thought you had a cast of African actors.
I think they may have.
I'm pretty sure they did, but I mean, for the one, I know everybody in that Joker. 12 Years a Slave ain't African. I mean, he is African, but he ain't African.
You're talking about like just native people,
right? You know what I mean? It's like they kept the dialect, they kept the tongue. It wasn't like.
I think the guy who played William, I think he was from Africa.
I mean, he looks like it.
Like, I tried to look for him, but he don't have a wiki. So I think he probably is.
And he's new, so he's probably like a young new actor.
He did a great job.
He did
you think about it, like watching it, I really felt like I was just following his story. But yeah, think about it. There's a kid who auditioned to play this role, and I don't know who else who auditioned, but he slayed it. Like, I couldn't see it played by anybody else.
Man, listen, I'd have ended them auditions soon as he would have got done. That's it, cut it. You got 50 other people. Damn them to hell. And it's like, maybe on the sequel, but not in this one right here.
He did a beautiful job. He was the right balance of, truly a kid from, making decisions about his education and, being, playful with his best friend to the tears that he generated when there was a level of disappointment, the tears that were generated when the sister left. Like, you really felt like, dang, like, he just lost his sister for real. He really feels ashamed. You know what I'm saying? You felt that without it being like over the top dramatic. It wasn't like a soap opera or novella. It was just sincerely like a boy going through the motions. And I mean, he rocked it.
You know what? Now it's like, you got to think about it. Since it is based on a true story, this is a kid doing all this.
Yeah.
This is a young kid doing all this.
That's what I'm saying. Perspective-wise, he looks like he could possibly be my son, Jay. My son is 12. And I couldn't And I love my kid. He's brilliant, but I couldn't see
He
him
dumb.
making the choice
He dumb.
of
He's smart, but he dumb.
prioritizing, playing, shooting the breeze with the homies and stuff like that. Really finding real world solutions and being able to decipher that through essentially scraps. I mean, their library could fit in this room right now. What they called a library.
Yeah, I know everything was outdated in that Joker boy.
Mm-hmm. But he found a way.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Man, it shows you what you can do. Take away some distractions, If you listen to this podcast, you made this point, and you under the quarantine and everything like that. Just take some time. Just put Netflix off. And just go to the junkyard. And simulate that y'all ain't gonna drink no water no more, and see what your child come up with.
Leave them there for a couple hours. Call it shop class, real world shop class.
Yeah. You should call it shock value.
It's like, don't call me until you made something. All right, I'll see you later.
Yeah, just drop them off there, and just don't give them a dog.
Give him one dog.
Give him one dog.
One loyal dog.
And give him a problem. Yeah, hey, look,
pack him some lunch.
you ain't gonna be able to breathe unless you know what I'm saying.
Breathe. And on some real stuff, you might need to think about that stuff too.
I mean, but there again, though, it's a really good movie. It makes you think. I like movies that make you think, and on a positive scale. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't like on no death and instructions. Like, look what we can do.
Yeah.
Look what we can do. Look what you can do when you are put in a situation that something is needed, and these are the resources that you
have.
You dig what I'm saying? It's like if he can make a windmill out of a Huffy bicycle and some scrap parts, and he pretty much made his own water plant to a degree with a Huffy bicycle, some sticks, and a pump that.
An old water pump.
An old water pump that he probably had to piece back together and everything, and a battery.
Yeah, old car battery.
And then think he had to take another battery and get good cells. You know what I'm saying? Get the good cells out the battery, so they could generate.
And he knew how to recognize all of that.
And you're talking about somebody who had just started
his education.
Going to school. You know what I'm saying, at this age. So it's like, so everything else is like just come from practical application. So it's like, so just imagine, it's like if you put yourself in situations where you have to do something. Like if you're on quarantine and you hear this, put yourself in a situation where you have to do something. And just see what you can come up with.
Yep. Of course, as always, on the scale from 1 to 15, how would you rate this movie?
I'm gonna give it another 15 because I want my people to get all the little coins that they can. But I mean, generally, because it really was a good movie. It was like I like sitting there and feeling like, man, I really enjoyed this story. I'm glad that it ended the way that it did, and it wasn't like overly predictable. Like, of course, the triumphant end. It was very humble triumph. It was very like he sits at the top of his tower and he's just happy to see it's working, and you're happy for him. Like, we know what this means for your people. We know how proud this makes you, and this is only your beginning. So we're happy with you. We celebrate with you, even though he's technically a fictional character, but the story is real.
Well, no, it's still a real character.
No. I'm saying like the kid is who I'm like rooting for, but the actual, I know it's a true story. So it's like you just feel a sense of like accomplishment when all you do is sit there and watch a movie, but you feel a part of it. So for a movie to leave you feeling, motivated and inspired and revived and even connected to your culture to a degree, 100% you get your $15 from me.
I'd give it a dub if I could, but I give it a good 15 because it was a good movie the whole way through. Beautiful cast, great writing, great directing, great scenery. It's just great the whole way around. A very complex story made simple. You feel like you got enough of the story. Like I know the story probably coming from the horse's mouth, as they like to say. There's probably a lot more detailed and everything else like that. But this representation made me feel like I did not miss anything that wasn't important. So I feel like it was a great illustration of the true accounts of what has happened. American visually beautiful, casted extremely well, not a waste of scenery, and a great ride. You know, because a lot of the times you can get some movies that are based on a true story, and you be like, this was corny as hell. It wasn't corny. You know, it was done well, and it gets a double boost because the writer and the director. You know what I'm saying? This was a first time out the gate, and it was a one shot, one kill.
Yeah, it was good.
You know what I mean? So it gets a 15 for me.
Bravo, sir. Bravo.
Yeah, let's go with the hater.
Why ain't been hater for?
Because that's what you do, James. You've been hating on me since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
I've been hating on you.
Yeah.
How have I been hating on you, Devin?
You ever tell people how you told me to go skip through and do 64 during rush hour?
What?
Like, why would I tell you that? You can skip.
For the record, I can skip. For the record, I can
For
skip.
footage of Dev skipping, comment below.
Look, if I get 2 comments, I'll skip. I'll skip straight up the block. I'll skip you. We'll start small. 2 comments from people other than on this podcast. Yeah, let me put that out there too. Cause if I'm gonna be burning my calf muscles, I need some faithful watchers.
Oh, we.
Oh man. Well, I'm gonna join the band and give it 15.
What? The grand hater?
Dun, dun, dun.
I never hated this movie.
He was saying that you're a hater in general.
You a hater in general.
I only hate things that I hate.
They call you Hater Harris. That's your nickname.
They call him Hater Harris, though, Dev?
Who called me this?
Yeah, right. That's what the people really want to know.
I just made this up, but it sounds believable.
Say the guy who hate Titanic.
Yeah, he loves
That's
hate.
a terrible ass movie.
It's like the writers of Titanic said, well, we know who we're not
They
going
can
to
all go
cast.
straight to hell. If I was the gatekeeper of heaven and the writers of Titanic came there, they know where they going.
That's terrible, Dev.
But yeah, like I give it 15. It was a pretty good movie. I feel like this is a kind of movie that I feel like kind of makes you appreciate
Major
your own life, you know, and also allows you to see how life is outside of America, you know, and you know I feel like this is some of the kind of movies that we need to see more of.
Big facts.
You know.
Jumbo facts.
Like I know, like a lot of times we think of black movies, we think of slave movies, hood movies.
Yeah, all these cliches.
Tyler Perry movies, you know.
Shade.
Mr. Perry.
You know, but you know, like I feel like you know these are the type of movies that we need to see more of. You know, like even though yes, it is about the struggle, but it's the beautiful struggle.
It is a beautiful.
It's the non-stereotypical.
Shout out to Talib Kweli because that was the name of one of his best albums ever, The Beautiful Struggle. All right. I just had to cut the check, Talib, baby.
Right.
Cut the check, baby.
But yeah, you know, I feel like especially you know for this being his
First time
directing.
Like out the gate.
Yeah, he killed it.
Like he's rookie of the year right now.
I'm gonna say keep pushing, brother, because you got a good perspective.
And if you ever need somebody, I'm telling you, 009 and 3/4
It
right
don't make
here.
any sense, but okay.
Like this also makes me highly anticipate what Michael B. Jordan is gonna do because he has I think it had to do with Netflix.
Oh, nice.
But he wants to produce more African based type projects.
Michael B, baby, I'm here.
Come through.
The group home hero is here. Holla at me.
You know what, Dev? You definitely keep pushing because somebody gonna cut you that check.
They gonna cut the check.
Cut the
The
check.
short bus ambassador is gonna be in the building.
What we gonna do with you?
Podcast play cousin, baby.
But yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, you know, but
That sound like a good show. Short bus hero.
It sounds like a good show.
I mean, no, group home hero. Man.
I can see that. can see that being a thing.
I can see the group
Not
home.
sure how far we gonna go with
Come
it.
on,
but
James. We can make a short story.
he
The
said
group
he ain't
home
trying to
hero.
do it, bruh.
The group. I'm telling you. And the
What
short
in the
bus
world?
ambassador. I'm telling you. We can do this. I'm telling you. If handyman could be a thing, come on, James.
Yeah, you get a point there.
I got a hell of a point there. Pootie Tang was a thing. Shout out to you.
Pootie Tang was a thing.
Sign your pity on the running
On
kind,
the
baby.
running kind.
Whatever the running kind, that is. Anyway, great movie though. Great movie.
Reflecting on the current thing. Oh my god.
Yeah, but that would do it for today's episode.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't forget to like,
Comment.
comment.
2 comments. I'll skip, baby. I ain't gonna say no distance. I know if you go back early, I set up the block. I might make it 3 sticks, 3 little twigs worth of skipping.
I
But I got you,
counts
baby.
as a skip, sure.
It depends on if we still on quarantine. The government say we on quarantine. I can't skip.
If you work, you skip.
Huh?
Huh?
You said what?
If you get hungry, here.
Come again?
Oh, weak.
Pardon me, mon frere.
Long friend.
If you can work, you can skip.
Working and skipping ain't the same thing.
He said walk, Dad.
Do you? He said if I can walk.
No, work.
He said work.
If you can work, you can skip. I don't get it.
I mean, if you leave the house, you can skip.
Huh? That mean the same thing.
Yeah, here we go.
I'm gonna skip the work.
You can skip from this door to your car.
Like what? Mm-hmm. Man, you asking for too much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, against two or more comments, Dev will skip. I will record the footage and post it.
Have me busting the sweat out this joke, boy.
That's all right, sure.
Have me breathing hard.
So let's get those 2 comments.
Just 2 people.
My pleasure. For my pleasure alone.
Bruh.
The grand hater himself would.
Grand hair.
Hey, I'll be proud of right now. Just to see you skip.
I gotta get my rhythm right, boy.
Better start practicing.
Yeah.
That's bad. You got to practice the skip, fam.
Boy.
What have we come to?
Boy. Whoever invented skipping, you can go to hell, boy.
They was in a good mood. That's all.
What the hell ever?
Can you imagine, like, the thought process? You're like, I'm going to skip.
Not quite run.
I'm not gonna
Faster
run,
than walk.
but I'm gonna do a slight jump.
It's not a jog.
While I
either.
walk.
It's kind of like a yippee with every step. Yippee.
You know?
I'm putting more energy, you know?
Yeah. But with delight, hopefully.
Who invented skipping?
What are you doing?
It's
What
funny.
that guy doing over there?
Tiffany had it. She was like, that's how she avoided getting messed with when she lived in California. She would come out in like her night clothes with the bonnet and the rope and skip. Cause ain't nobody gonna mess with somebody who's skipping. Either they too happy or they crazy. Shout out Tiffany Haddon. She ready. Oh,
But yeah,
my
don't
God.
forget to like, comment on the video.
And subscribe.
And not only just comment, but let us know your thoughts on the movie. And let us know if there's any movies or movie topics you want us to talk about.
Facts.
You know.
Facts. So, TV
want
shows,
to know.
cartoons, you know, whatever, music videos, whatever.
We're
You
not gonna review a music.
know,
video.
I'm telling you, it's like
I don't know. Actually, I take that back because Kanye and Michael Jackson both got movies for music videos. So
that ain't documentaries.
Even Pornhub.
You know, it's a stay-at-home hub. Have you went up? Type in Pornhub.
It really does not.
It does say
stay-at-home.
that. Type in Pornhub, and it says stay-at-home hub due to they didn't change the name due to quarantine.
Wow.
Yeah, dead ass. Don't ask me how I know.
Yeah.
Shout out to Abby for giving me that information.
So he's heard.
So I heard.
But you know, also subscribe to the channel. You know, to Film Nerds,
Yeah.
and you can subscribe to Dream Cloud, which is gonna be over here on Devin's face.
Cause that's where y'all attention been anyway. I mean, she pretty too, but it's like, I'm beautiful, baby.
In his own way.
Bronze Lord.
The Bronze Lord himself.
Straight from the short bus.
Straight. So that's my golden chariot right there. The short bus.
The short bus is the golden chariot.
Hailing from the group home.
Hailing from the group home.
Norfolk, Virginia. That'd be my.
You need like the echo feature.
Yo, this is the only fighter we know that hails from the group home.
Hails from the group home.
That's what they're gonna put hotel be at the group home.
DA group home. Lord help this man.
But anyways, I think I said everything. But I'm James.
I'm Tina.
And I'm your boy Big Dev Comedy, aka the short bus ambassador, aka the group home hero, aka podcast play cousin,
aka special ed president.
Yeah, the special ed president. You said who?
He said 009 3/4.
Yeah, 009 3/4. Idris, get over the call. Get over the cough.
It's not a cough.
It is a cough.
It's a deadly virus.
It's a cough. That's what it is. It's a cough. Get you some Hennessy and cough drops, baby.
And be good as new.
And you'll be good as new.
Right
It'll take 3-4 days. You'll be fine. And you don't forget the ginger ale. You got to drink about 72 gallons of ginger ale. But I'm telling you, everything be straight. Everything you be good. You'll be good. 72 gallons of ginger ale, about 3 pints of Hennessy, and about 4 pounds of cough drops. You be fine.
Good to go.
You and about 8 rubs of Vicks. You know what I mean? You be fine.
That's the stories. You gotta watch the stories too.
Yeah.
That's part of the healing process.
Yeah. You got to tune in the days of our lives. All my children. Where Sonny Corinthos is still up there, baby.
How you know?
But
how you know?
Huh?
How you know?
Man, don't ask questions. What's understood does not have to be explained, James.
Oh no.
But it's your boy, Big Dev Comedy. You want to find me, you find me entertaining. Look me up on Instagram at BigDev_comedy. Look me up on Facebook at Big Dev Comedy. Look me up by my government name, Devin. You
sound like sis in the video Chinaman.
See, homegirl said China. But Devin Roberts, look me up, hit me up. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, we gonna get this, and I'm gonna lead the way. I got you, baby. I'm the shining nightlight in your dark room. I got you. I got you. It is the short bus ambassador himself, Big Dev Comedy. It is the group home hero.
Ladies and gentlemen.
It is podcast play cousin. Your favorite play first cousin. I'm all that. I'm all that.
What he said.
You done?
Man, I'm telling you. I'm the Regal of Top Ramen. I got you.
You the what?
I'm the Regal of Top Ramen. The king of Captain Crunch, baby.
Captain Crunch. What?
The vice president of Vienna sausages. Whatever you need. You know, I'm the Pope of Popeyes. It's like, I got you.
The Pope of
Yes,
Popeyes?
I'm the Pope. Mm-hmm. You know?
He ain't got a lick of sense.
Yeah. I am here.
Ladies and gentlemen.
The king of the fried crabs. What you talking about? What you hear?
You like some fried crabs, though.
The Duke of everything that is deep fried. What you talking about?
The Duke of deep fried.
Yeah.
That's fancy, right?
You shut the hell up. The savior with the snap cakes, baby. I got you. I got a fudge round in my pocket right now.
Why do you have a fudge round in your pocket?
Don't worry about that.
Okay, moving on.
He's not lying there.
Yeah.
But anyways, we see you next time.
Let me do my film nerd dance.